what you learned being, you know, in the Midwest and stuff is you don't give up. You know, work until you get it. So let's use the example of losing weight. If you want to lose weight, you know that's going to take time. And there's things that you have to do to actually get there. But because we don't understand psychology and people, we think that we could do that with people as well. You can only do that with yourself. That is it. That's it. You can't wait it out, wait till he's mature. I mean, you can, but it's probably not going to be healthy for you. And it's probably going to be a waste of time. You're going to be holding on to something that is actually bad for you and not good for you. But because we think, oh, I can't help who I love, so it's just got to be him. Did you ever feel that in that relationship? Like, oh, can you help who you love? Or if it wasn't that, was it, because I know you're a Christian as well, like me, it's the Christian thing to do to stay with him and try to help him out?
It's so funny you brought that up, because that was the first thing that popped in my mind. I was like, I think definitely my faith has something to do with it. And it was more so I think the other factors with the person, and also this misnomer that we're taught that, and I don't know if we're intentionally taught this, but it's that, and maybe, I don't know if I want to put this on my faith. Like, I'm working through this as you're sharing this with me.
Take your time. We got time.
But it's this idea, and it may be kind of like this princess idea, or this storyline that's told in media and in movies, and even like our, what is it? What do you call it? I'll liken it to, I'm just trying to I'm trying to set this up. I'll liken it to someone called, yes, that's exactly it. That we have this, like, our love, our character, who we are is so amazing that we have the power to change a man, or a man will want to change for this woman he loves. Now, I think when you do get in a relationship with someone, initially, you do have like this excitement, like, oh, I want to be the best person I can possibly be. Like, you inspire them to change, you inspire them to do better. And I think it may kind of cause you to tighten up a little bit. But when we talk about the core change of a person, like some that deep stuff that I believe only you and God and the Holy Spirit, we can't do that. Our love, but we're not taught this. Our love isn't that powerful. I believe God's love moving through us, or our love, can cultivate the environment for that to happen. And we may be the catalyst, but we are not the thing that they're going to change. I mean, but we hear it all the time. I mean, no shade to, and maybe it's a part of my life I haven't lived, but I feel as though that Steve Harvey, who has had, you know, relationship books upon relationship books, and I think he positions himself as a relationship expert, he kind of shares that narrative. Like, that's his perspective. Like, a man will get himself together for the right woman. Yeah. And I think there's some truth to that. Mm-hmm. But I think that also potentially speaks to the man's character, maybe. Like, mm-hmm. Like, how come you weren't working your butt off before this? Like,
right. So I wrote down so much. This is why I love these conversations. And this is why, excuse me, I worked myself up because I'm getting too excited. Like, because I want to break this down even more.
It's like, is that sparkling water? Listen, y'all, I do not like sparkling water. Every time Reka brings it on, I'm like, that is the devil's spit. I don't. And I started to take a sip. I'm like, that's not gonna help you.
Yes, it is. It helps my mouth calm down so I can talk. Okay. So this is why I became a coach. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a certified life coach. I got trained under the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming model, which now here soon, I am going to go back to school and get my MSW because I'm so interested in the psychology. I know, right? I'm praying about it. God, is this the move you want me to make? Because do I want to be $30,000 in debt again for school? So if anybody wants to give me a scholarship, holla at your girl. But this is why I do it, because you have to break down things like that, right? So what you said about Steve Harvey and him saying that a man will change for the right woman. Listen, there's a difference between you dating a man who wants to be a writer and you encourage him to write and he starts writing and then his book is published and blah, 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 blah. So that's one bucket. And then there are men who are emotionally, my dogs, excuse me, they're out chasing the wind. So then there's a bucket of he's so emotionally, he's not emotionally intelligent. So he's emotionally abusive, and that relationship is going on. The dysfunction of you now being abused because he hasn't gotten those demons from his childhood or wherever it's coming from out. You know, TD Jakes says, I've never met a man who liked himself that beat his wife. So I can't help you like you. You got to do that work. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Can I encourage you if you want to run a marathon, if you want to be a better speller, if those things, right? But that's where, when you said the character flaw, that's where that comes in. I can't help you like yourself. So those are two different buckets for sure. But when you're listening to somebody like Steve Harvey or even us on our podcast or what have you, it's hard to break everything down in 1 hour, in 45 minutes, in whatever, you know? So that's why I like being a coach. And then also what you said is we think that we're so powerful. Like, I'm such a good woman. I have such great character that I can make you whatever it is I want you to be. And listen, I know we're laughing, but there is no judgment to whoever's listening. I've been there. 2017 and pre-Reka, I don't know what she was doing. I know what she was doing. She was trying to play God. And that leads me to Sarah Jakes, TD Jakes' daughter. I heard her say this in a sermon once, like, it's so funny or maybe it was on her podcast because she has a platform or whatever. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, she goes, it's so funny when I hear women or I see women staying in relationships and they think that she can change him. What are you, God? It's not our job to change people. It's our job to love. And that doesn't mean stay with somebody or be a doormat or what have you. It's our job to love. That's God's job to change. And that person has to want it. So I love that you brought that up. Woo, worked myself up, had to get that out.
Yeah. And so I want to point out, I love the fact how you, because I'm not obviously trying to come for, anyone who may have made those comments. I think you made it very clear that sometimes you can't break down everything, and also how you intended to say something is different than its impact. So, sharing the difference between a character flaw versus encouraging someone. I don't know if that may have been the person who ever shared that idea that the right man will change for you. I don't know if that was their goal, and that could, and also on top of that, it could be a generational difference. Where I don't know. I was gonna say it could be a generational difference, but I still stick to the character. Whatever you was doing beforehand, essentially the real you is going to show up, because then you get into the space of performing for someone. And I don't want that performance part of you. I want the real you, because that's what I'm gonna deal with when I get on your nerves or you get on my nerves and the curtains closed, ain't nobody looking. Like, that's what I'm going to engage with. That's like, yeah. And I talk about this a lot on my platform and my message of single you. And my ideal client is a woman who is doing that performance-based relationship, trying to morph her way into whoever she thinks he needs her to be, because I want you to like me. So I'm going to tap dance and do whatever it is I got to do and try to serve my way into your heart, when that's not going to last. And then you're just going to be miserable. And most of the time, right? And most of the time when you do that, men who accept that are the ones who are going to abuse you, whether it be emotionally, financially, physically. They are going to be like, I know what she's doing. Last week, I had Mike on the show. The week before that, I had DJ on the show. The week before that, I had Jeff on the show. And all three of them said they know when women are doing that. And if their character, if they're in a season of, I'm gonna just use her, that's what it's gonna be.